All right, welcome to the orientation. Thank you guys for joining me. My name is Robert Kennedy. I'll be your history instructor for this fall mini-mester 2020. So make sure you understand you are in a mini-mester. So if you weren't aware of that, do be aware of that now. This mini-mester is 8 weeks long. It's officially 8 weeks long, but I'm able to drag it out 9 weeks, so that will give you a little bit more time per assignment. So the first thing you want to do to get started in this course, before I get going too, anytime you have a question, you want me to slow down, or you just need clarification, you could either get me in the chat box for this video conference, or turn your mic on and just ask your question. Okay, so first thing you want to do is download the lockdown browser if you haven't done so already. In order to take an exam, you have to open up Blackboard through the lockdown browser. Let's open this up. So you'll click here, install now. And if you're unfamiliar with lockdown browser, I highly recommend watching this 3-minute video right here to get you familiar with it. But basically, what it is, 2598. There we go. What it is a browser where you can only open up one browser at a time, and you'll take that for each exam. If you have any problems installing it, you shouldn't. Most students are able to install it, no problem, but I'm going to put a number in the chat box, 872-2598. That is the hotline number for distance learning. They should be able to help you easily install lockdown browser. Okay, going back to the announcement, you have to have it done by the 26th is when the orientation exam is available, is due. And let me just go here real quick. Mandatory orientation. 1 second. I'm gonna make sure that that didn't get posted. The lockdown browser didn't get installed for that, so let me do that real quick. Required and required. Okay, so so again, that orientation exam is available in Start here. So you're going to go to Start here. You're going to go to Mandatory Orientation. The syllabus will be located here a little bit after this orientation. Study guides right here as well. I posted it in the chat box. The orientation will be posted right here. When you're ready to take it, you're going to click here. The exams derive directly from the study guide. So as long as you take notes, you can use your handwritten notes. You can't use type notes for any exam, but you can use handwritten notes. So when you're, as we're going through this, handwrite your notes so you can use it during the orientation exam. It's due August 26th, and all due dates, no matter what is assigned, are due at 5 p.m. So it is due August 26th at 5 p.m. 100% is required to pass the exam. But you have unlimited attempts. So if you make sure you go back to make sure you got 100%, and once you do, the course content will be made available to you. You have as many attempts as needed. Usually students get it done within 1, maybe 2 attempts. So you have as many attempts as possible to do that. Once you're done, just message me so I can grade it promptly so you can get started in the course. Even though it's due the 26th, don't wait till the 26th. You want to get done as quickly as possible. No backtracking, meaning that once you click next, you can't go back to the next question. And again, you have to open it up through lockdown browser. All right, any questions about the orientation exam? Either turn your mic on and ask it, or you can get me in the chat box.
Do we need a camera?
Yes. You need a camera to take the exams.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Once you do take the exams, week 1 and week 2 will be made available to you. Do we message you on Pronto or when we finish it on Blackboard? Message me through Pronto. Thanks for the question, Melissa. So once you've got 100% on your orientation exam, week 1 and week 2 will be made available to you. But let's go through, we'll go through that in just a bit, but let's just go through this important information here. All quizzes, discussion, and replies to student replies and unit exams are due on the date indicated in the course at 5 p.m. So August 29th, chapter 1 and 2 quiz is due August 20th. It's open now, and it closes at 5 p.m. on August 29th. The discussion due August 30th at 5 p.m., so on and so forth. Anytime you see a date, 5 p.m. is the due date. Any missed or low score quiz can be replaced by the unit exam. After taking a unit exam, if you have missed a quiz or scored lower than the unit exam, contact me via Pronto to have the quiz score updated. So if you miss a quiz, try not to, but if you do, understandable. Or if you didn't do as well as you wanted to, understandable. Try not to have that happen, but if that happens to happen, you get the opportunity to prepare with the unit exam. If that score is higher, let me know, and do let me know. It happens for sure, and that quiz for that unit will be replaced. Okay. Students not submitting 2 consecutive assignments and scoring lower than a 50% per unit are subjected to being withdrawn from the course. So just keep that in mind. Basically, any student who's engaged in this course, who takes notes and is staying with the schedule, this usually is never, ever an issue. If it has an issue, it just gives us an opportunity to communicate and see what's going on to make sure you successfully complete this course. If you haven't done so already, open this up and print this out, guidelines for short answer questions. Very, very important to make sure that you're responding thoroughly to any given question or prompt. So these are basically some guidelines about how long short answer questions should be, and this also applies to discussion posts. And I'll go over this in a little bit more detail in a little bit. And we'll come back to this in just a little bit, but be very aware of these guidelines. It'll ensure that you get a proper grade. Lockdown browser download, that's available here as well. And then how to do most things on Blackboard. So if you're needing to know how to post an assignment or an exam or whatever the case may be, sending a message, that link might be helpful. Okay, any questions? Let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to proceed to week 1. Again, this isn't available to you now. You got to take the orientation exam, but once it's graded, week 1 and week 2 will be made available. This is a mini-mester, so it goes quick. So the benefit of a mini-mester is you get done quickly, and so that gives you more time for your other courses. But the bad thing about a mini-mester is you have to keep up with the schedule. Getting behind really is not an option. So week 1 and week 2, let's go through this. So this begins with chapters 1 and chapter 2 with a quiz associated with this week and a discussion, right? So each chapter, basically the same thing. It comes with a study guide. Open up the study guide. And for purposes of this course, only focus on the short answers. So you're going to see key terms. You can use you can take notes using the key terms. But down below, these essays down here, disregard those essays. They're not needed on a regular basis, or maybe never throughout the semester. The thing you want to key on is the short answer questions. And notice the guidelines as you read through the chapter and view the videos. Take notes on the following questions. Be sure to provide specific examples in the text in your responses. Responses should be at least 1 or 2 paragraphs, right? And so what I highly suggest doing is getting a notebook for this course, or a binder, however you want to approach it, dedicated to this course. Handwrite all of these questions. It'll take you about 5 minutes, and put space in between each question, maybe 5 or 6 lines. From there, as you go through the material, the introduction, the first Americans, you just click, as you click along, you're going through the material, the videos, the chapter, the text. Use those study guide questions as a way of taking handwritten notes. And again, why do you want to take notes? You want to take notes because 1, it helps you get familiar with the content, and 2, during the exams, you can use handwritten notes. You can't use typed notes. You can't use other electronic equipment. You can't use books. You can't use other people, but you can use handwritten notes. And the exams, when you take the exams, there will be always 5 short answer questions, and they'll come directly from the study short answer questions. So handwritten notes only during the exams. All right. Again, let me know if you have any questions. So chapter 2 works the same way. All right. There's the study guides available there. It's also available within the chapter. When you're done and you're prepared for the quiz, you'll take the quiz right here. If it's just 1 chapter assigned for that week, it'll be 5 multiple choice questions. If it's just 1 chapter, it'll be 5 questions. So since it's 10 questions, you get 10 minutes. If it's 5 questions, you get 5 minutes. No backtracking. That means once you go on to the next question, you can't go back. 2 attempts are possible. Your highest score is going to be recorded. It's open now, and you can't access it after the deadline. Again, if your unit exam score is higher, contact the instructor to replace this quiz score if you happen to miss it or your score is lower. The discussion. So the discussions each week by August 26th, use this message tool. You could either access it here within week 1, or you can access it here in the sidebar. Oops, I didn't put it in there. All right, I'll put it in there later. But so for now, once week 1 is available to you, you click here, create message, go to 2, scroll down until you find my name, Robert Kennedy. I'm the instructor. Click there. So make sure you're aware of these little toggle arrows right there, right? So that puts it there. If you want to take one out, so if you put a name in there by accident, you just click that arrow there. We want that name in there. In the subject line, when you just put whatever, request a prompt, put a message in here. You got to do both, and then click submit, right? And that's how you will request a prompt. So going back to week 1, when you're ready to do the discussion post, based either on chapter 1 or 2, depending on what prompt you receive, and they'll come straight from the short answer questions. You'll click there. You'll go to create thread, and in the subject, your subject line is going to be the prompt that you're given, right? So don't put anything like discussion or hello or anything like that. You want to put the prompt that you are assigned after requesting it in that Blackboard email tool. And then you'll put your response here, right? Now, you can type right in here, right? What I highly suggest doing is typing, preparing your response for the discussion post in another document, in Word docs or Google Docs or whatever you use on a regular basis, copy and paste it, and then put it in here. If you simply type on here and Blackboard crashes on you like it did this morning, and you have 2, 3 great, beautiful paragraphs in there, it won't save, it'll be lost, right? So be aware of that. Now, as you're preparing your response for the discussion post, this is where these guidelines come in handy, right? So you'll notice here at least 1 to 3 complete paragraphs, depending on what it is that you're responding to. You want to respond specifically to the assigned content, no outside sources needed. So you want, if you're using a primary source to refer to, you want to refer to that, or a secondary source. What are those? What is a primary source and what is a secondary source? A primary source is just basically a document from the historical record in which we're studying. So like the Declaration of Independence is a primary source, or a letter written by George Washington, that would be a primary source, or a newspaper article from the New York Post in 1850, that would be a primary source. A secondary source is your textbook, which is provided to you through Blackboard, or a lecture delivered by me, right? That would be a secondary source. Refer to dates when relevant, geography when relevant, specific individuals when relevant, right? You want to avoid using words like they or this, right? What days are you talking about? You want to be specific about that, right? Avoid using words like Native American or Indian. It's fine to use those words, but you want to refer to, are you talking about the Cherokee or the Creeks or the Chickasaws, right? If that information is available to you. In the same token, avoid using the word European. Which Europeans are you talking about? Are you talking about the Spanish? Are you talking about the English? Right? Avoid using the words colonists. You can use these words, but if you're using that, the colonists were against the Tea Act. Which colonists were against the Tea Act? Were all of them against it? Was it the folks in Boston? Right? Be specific as possible. When in doubt, be specific in your responses. So this applies to really anything that you're thoroughly writing in here. Discussion posts, short answer questions for the study guides, and then in how you develop your lecture essays, which I'll go over in just a second. Any questions so far? Okay, let me know if you do have any questions. Okay, going back to course content. I'm going to go over lectures. So each unit will have 1 to 2, up to 3 lectures. So in this unit, we have a lecture on race, class, and slavery. You're going to click here, and you'll get, basically, they'll always look the same. All right, you'll get a essay prompt and learning objectives associated with that essay prompt. So you're preparing a 5 to 8 paragraph essay that you want to hand write in your notebook, because you can, if this will come up on the exam, this particular essay prompt right here. Discuss the interrelationship between a successful cash crop, cheap labor, and cheap land. How did slavery slowly develop in the British colonies and the early United States history, right? How do you prepare for that? You prepare for that by going through the 3 learning objectives that are available for this lecture. So you click, you have a prompt right here, and basically that is giving you the first part of this essay right here, discussing the interrelationship between a successful cash crop, cheap labor, and cheap land, right? And so in order to answer that, you need the background of when, how, and why Jamestown was founded, because that's going to lead to these things right here. And that's going to be at least 1 paragraph. You have a video right here. You have notes right there. You want to go through both. Take notes. At the end, you should have a solid prepared paragraph for this prompt right here. Learning objective 2, you've got this prompt right there. And this one's at least 1 paragraph as well. You've got the video, you've got the notes, right? So click these notes just so you see. Oh, that one I'll have to update, but it's in an old file that's no longer available, but I'll have something there in a little bit. You see that one needs to get updated too. Yep. Okay, so that'll get updated in just a little bit, but there will be notes there. Learning objective 3, same thing. Video, notes, there's a prompt that you're responding to. When you're done with all three learning objectives, learning objective 1, 2, and 3. This is your essay, right? This is the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. And that will be your response to this essay prompt, your 5 to 8 paragraph essay prompt that you will respond to during the exam. And where is that exam? Well, the exam is available in week 2. So when you're ready to take the exam, the composition of the exam is noted right here. There's 25 multiple choice questions, true, false, multiple response, and fill in the blank. So multiple response is a response that can have more than one response. Fill in the blank, spelling counts, usually be a 1 to 2 word question. Usually it'll be like a date, like a year or something like that. 5 short answer questions, learning objective prompts, which come directly from the study guide, and then 1 lecture essay. If there's more than 1 lecture assigned during a unit, it will be randomly selected. There is only 1 lecture assigned for Unit 1, so it will be the lecture on race, class, and slavery. You may use handwritten notes, no type notes. Do not use any other computers. No one should be around you during the exam. Exam is 3 hours long, so that's plenty of time if your notes are thorough, organized, and you've gone over them and prepared for them, a few times and developed a certain degree of being familiar with the material. No backtracking questions, so once you click next, you can't go back. No late submissions accepted. If you complete the exam 24 hours prior, message the instructor to earn 5% extra credit. You must earn 5% prior, though, for the extra credit to be applied. So in other words, if you earn a 60%, you're not going to get the extra credit even if you submit 24 hours early. Do contact me so I'm aware that you have submitted it early. Contact me as soon as you're finished. And lockdown browser is required for this exam. Any questions so far? Okay, so any questions in here so far that have not been answered that you would like me to go over from your study guide for the orientation exam? No? Everybody's got these questions? You can take the orientation exam right now? I hope so. Yes.
I was gonna ask you. Did you go over all of them?
I should have, yeah. Is there a question you need?
Because I think I wasn't here when you went through all of them. Maybe
which question is it that you would like me to clarify for you?
Number 4.
4. Do you need to cite your sources for the lecture essays? No, you do not need to, since all of the material is provided to you in the lecture. So you should not actually go to any outside sources at all. The information is all enclosed within the lecture folder. So you no need to cite your sources.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question. Any other questions?
Yes, a question.
Yeah.
For the lockdown browser, how does that work? I've never tried it. I did see the short video you have provided to us, but since I've never tried, I've never used it,
so that once you download the browser, it should download onto your desktop, and the application should look like a little padlock. So when you're ready to take the exam, the orientation exam or a unit exam, you're going to log into Blackboard by using that application, the lockdown browser. So from there, you're going to go to where the orientation exam is located in the Start Here folder. If you're taking a unit exam, you're going to go to where it's located after logging in. It'll take you straight to the login page for Blackboard. Then you go to your course, then you go to where the exam is located. If you go to take an exam and it happens to ask you for a password, what that is indicating is that you are opening up Blackboard through either Chrome or Internet Explorer or Safari, and it won't let you access it, the exam from there. So as long as you're opening up Blackboard through the lockdown browser to take an exam, it won't ask you for a password. So it's just a browser that what it basically does is it locks down your browser and it doesn't allow you to open up any other windows or any other browser while you're taking the exam.
Okay. And I can just download that like right after we finish this orientation. I can download it and I just do it whenever we do the exams and stuff, right?
Yep. So download the software. It should go in straight to your desktop. If it doesn't go to your desktop, then check where your programs are located. If you have trouble downloading it, I'm going to put the phone number again into the chat box here. 872-2598. That's the distance learning hotline, and they should be able to help you. 95% of students, if not more, have no problem downloading the software. So, but do use that number if you do have problems.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, couple of things too. So this kind of goes into what advice does the student or the instructor give to succeed in this course. A few things. One, handwrite your notes. That's going to be very effective since you can use your notes, your handwritten notes during the exam. The other thing too is to try to stay ahead of the schedule at least by a day. What will happen is if you're always kind of pushing it towards the last minute, that's going to move you from stress to anxiety. It's perfectly okay, normal, and you should be a little bit stressed taking a college course. It means you're being challenged. That means you care about what you're doing, your time, your effort, all of that. Right? But what you want to avoid is you want to avoid becoming anxious, because that's when people get anxious, they usually want to give up and stop doing what they're doing that's making them anxious. So you want to avoid that. And to do that, staying ahead of the schedule will help. In an online class, it pays to stay ahead of the schedule a little bit, because if you don't stay ahead of the schedule, what you need to anticipate is this in an online class: technical difficulties. Technical difficulties on your end, technical difficulties on South College's end, on my end. I might not have something set up correctly. On Blackboard's end. So today, Blackboard was crashing. There's too many people all over the planet trying to access Blackboard at the same time, and it crashed, right? So anticipate that. It's going to happen more often than you would expect. So if something like that happens a day early, you can adjust for it. You can reach out to me or to distance learning at that phone number I gave you, and figure something out. But if you wait until the last day, the last few hours, that technical problem can and will get in the way of you succeeding in this course. The other thing I would suggest in succeeding in this course, right before an exam, before I get there, just be aware of what things are worth. So I'll have the syllabus posted in just a little bit, and so you'll see exactly what everything is worth. But each unit exam is going to be roughly worth about 10% of your grade. Now that's nothing to dismiss, but it's not going to make or break your grade. So if you happen not to do well on the orientation exam, let's say you earn a 60% on the orientation or on the unit exam. You earn that despite the fact that you prepared for it, you thought you knew what you were doing, but and that's not unusual for somebody to struggle a little bit on a first exam. You can kind of switch your perspective on it. You earned, if it's worth 10% of your grade, you earned 6% of the total grade and only lost 4% of the total grade. So that gives you an opportunity to reach out to me to figure out what you need to do differently and to move forward. And for the next unit exam, you most definitely will probably do much better, right? But you haven't lost all of those percentages, right? So that's another way of succeeding in a course so you don't get anxious is kind of understanding how things are calibrated. A quiz, right? There's probably, I think there's 14 quizzes in this course. Collectively, I think they're 20% of your grade. So one quiz is going to be maybe a percent, maybe 1.5% of your total grade. Keep that in mind. You don't want to blow off every quiz, because that 20% will definitely add up. But if you don't do as well on a quiz as you wanted to, it's not going to be make or break your grade. So do keep those kinds of things in mind as you go forward. The last thing I would suggest doing is, if you're one of the students, and a lot of students get really anxious during an exam, you want to make sure that that's just stress, not anxiety. Perfectly okay to be a little stressed, not okay to be anxious, because it begins to kind of mess with your thinking process when you get too concerned. You get into fight or flight mode. To avoid that, if you know you're one of those people that gets anxious during an exam, before you click begin, take the time to take 3 to maybe even 10 deep breaths, deep in the belly, fully in and fully out. Do that 3, 5, 10 times, and you will see in real time your stress levels greatly reduce. Right, so little practical advice if you haven't incorporated that in previous exams. The other thing too, especially in an online class, online classes are great because you can create your own schedule. Online classes are not so great because you can create your own schedule, right? And what I mean by that is, it's nice that you can create your own schedule. You don't have to be at the campus at a certain time, certain day, every single time, right? You can do this from home. But the problem with creating your own schedule is that you're a human being, right? And like most human beings, including myself, we are prone to procrastinate. So what I highly suggest doing with this course, and with all of your courses, is to sit down with a calendar for the remaining of the semester and identify a set schedule for each course. So Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever it might be for you, from 6 to 9 p.m. every Monday, Wednesday. No matter what, you're going to sit down and do your history work, right? Nothing else. And let people know who you might need, your mom, dad, significant other, brothers, sisters, whoever it is. During this time, this is when I'm doing my history. During this time, this is when I'm doing these days, and these times, this is when I'm doing English. This is when I'm doing biology, right? And stick to that schedule. What that will prevent you from doing, if you're able to maintain that discipline and that schedule as if you were going to a class on campus, is saying to yourself, oh, I'll log in tomorrow, right? Especially in a mini-mester, that kind of pattern of I'll log in tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, can add up real quick, and you get too behind in a mini-mester and it becomes too late real quick. So keep that in mind, and I highly, highly suggest creating your own, a very specific schedule for this course. Any other questions before we go? That's about it. I don't want to overburden you guys too much. Basically, there's chapters, there's lectures. You get assessed on the chapters with chapter quizzes. There's discussions where you will prepare a specific prompt question from the study guides that will be assigned to you once you request it from me, using the message tool that's within each week. And then there's exams. Each exam will test you on the chapters and the lectures with multiple choice questions, short answer questions, and a lecture essay. Not in this course, no, Melissa. There is no final exam.
What about number 11? Just like how many hours?
Yeah, since this is a mini-mester, I would be prepared to dedicate at least 8 to 12 hours a week on this course. Maybe more, maybe less, give or take, depending on what's going on with that week. But at bare minimum, at least 8 hours a week.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Our discussion posts on the calendar. They are each, just go by what's posted within the course content, Richard. So once this is available to you, course content, after you take the orientation exam and it's graded and you successfully complete it, always go by the dates that are posted here. Any other questions? All right, if there aren't any questions right now, that's fine. I'm gonna get going. I have another class I need to get ready for, and for the next hour. You can always get me on Pronto if you have questions as you're going through. But do take the orientation exam as soon as you possibly can. You don't want to put this off to the last minute. You want the course content to be made available to you so you can get going on this course. And doing what you can to stay with the schedule, if not ahead of the schedule a little bit. All right, if there are any other questions, okay, there is one. Okay, excellent. Our discussion posts, oh, all right, Richard says, all right, excellent. Okay, if there aren't any questions, I'm gonna get ready for my next class. And yes, you're welcome, Melissa. Thank you for joining, and thank you for your questions. All right, you guys will do great. Just stick with the schedule. It's okay. And remember, it's okay to be confused. Just don't stay confused. Excellent. You're welcome, Alexis. Thank you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Just last question. Are you gonna, are these videos every day, or like, are you gonna put it on the
Good
Blackboard
question.
when you'll be live?
Yeah, I'll let you guys know. What I plan on doing is once a week in the evenings. I think I'm going to do, I'll let you guys know when I make a decision, but it won't be required to ever join on a video. This is an online course, and so these are what are referred to as asynchronistic courses. They're not synchronistic as if you have to go to class every day, but I'm thinking every Tuesday. I might have on the evenings around maybe 5 or 6. Again, I'll get specific about that later. Go over the lectures that are assigned for the course. The lectures are all pre-recorded and all the notes are available, so you could just rely on that. But it might be helpful for some of you to join in. So if you have questions or just need clarification, you can get those resolved in real time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Any other questions? All right, take the orientation exam. I will have the syllabus posted in the orientation video in the Start Here folder in just a little bit. Other than that, I'll talk with you guys later. Take care.